Welcome to SeaKeepers Voyages of DISCOVERY. I'm your host, Katie, and in our last episode of the season, we're bridging time zones to chat with the SeaKeepers Asia team about their ocean conservation efforts on the other side of the world. I'm happy to welcome Gail and Julian Chang of the SeaKeepers Asia branch onto the podcast today. Thank you both so much for being here. I think we have a 12-hour time difference between us, so I'm really grateful that we do have the opportunity to sit down and chat about some of your programming. So Julian, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at the International Seakeepers Society?
Yes. I come from a background in shipbuilding, including yacht building. Many years ago, I had the opportunity to sit on the board of the International Seakeepers Society in USA. In 2015, the board mandated me to expand marine conservation efforts in Asia. This has been my heartfelt mission ever since. Hence, I started International Seakeepers Society Asia in Singapore, covering the rest of Asia with full support and help of HQ Seakeepers Miami.
Amazing. What year did SeaKeepers Asia start? Did you say 2015?
That is correct, yes.
Oh, very cool. Wow, you guys are coming up on your 10-year anniversary pretty soon here.
That's right.
Oh, that's so exciting. Gail, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at SeaKeepers Asia?
Sure. Thanks, Katie. I'm actually doing the planning and programming for SeaKeepers Asia, and basically I work with a team in the US to see how we can synergize, and I also reach out to the local people here to see how we can build on our programs.
Julian, what are some of the missions of the SeaKeepers Asia branch?
Well, the mission is to promote marine conservation using Singapore as a base. Since 2015, we have started promoting marine conservation in Thailand, Malaysia, and Indonesia. We recently set up an office in Dhaka, Bangladesh, to investigate the conservation and protection of the mangrove forests in Sundarbans. Our target countries will be China, Taiwan, the Philippines, and India in the very years to come. We will start creating marine conservation through internationally organized songwriting competition of the ocean that will create more awareness through song. Second, we will create a platform on our outreach for children's education in marine awareness. The same will be true for the rest of the Asian countries that we will put ourselves onto in the near future. Yeah.
So what makes Singapore such a great hub for the SeaKeepers Asia chapter?
Singapore being sort of like the center of Asia, I would say, in terms of business, and we have a fantastic hub in Singapore that we could basically fly to other countries with ease, because so many flights are coming in and out of Singapore. It's like a central base where we can pick up a plane and shoot off anytime we want to go. And a lot of other Asian countries, they love to come to Singapore. So it's a great city as well. And we organize, as is in Singapore, we organize many different kind of conferences. And we have the facilities to take on all these conferences with ease.
I've heard Singapore is beautiful, so maybe I will have to come visit someday.
Absolutely. Come this year, Katie.
Would love that. Yeah. Gail, can you provide an overview of some of the key projects and initiatives that you all are working on?
Sure. Katie, as you well know, our motto is anything to do with research, education, protection, and restoration of the marine environment. And we do this through community outreach or educational learning journeys, as well as citizen science programs or scientist-led expeditions. So we try as much as possible to run our programming in parallel with what's happening in the US and driven by our team in the US. But not everything works locally due to conditions and the state of maybe the resources available. So for us in Asia, we very much focus on the educational outreach platforms. Everything that we do starts and ends with education. And some of the projects that we have been doing, I would say at the pinnacle of that would be our Ocean Collective Summit, which is an annual conference that we have organized in conjunction with the Fabian Cousteau Ocean Learning Center. That will be coming up in October of this year. It's a 2-day annual conference. And we try to create a platform where we discuss not just the problems, but also provide the solutions. So I say the Ocean Collective Summit because that's what we're very busy working with now. Yeah. And of course, we have other things coming up as well.
That's really exciting. I want to jump back to something Julian said earlier. You mentioned the songwriting competition. Can you share a little bit more about that with us and the purpose that it serves?
We have always been contacting, creating awareness with people that is around water, right? We started off with yacht owners and that's, I look at it, there's only like 5 or 10% of the population, and to reach out to more people, I think a song would actually be very useful to actually touch and connect with the rest of the 90% of people. And so that's how I thought, well, start a competition, write a song for the ocean. And we've been very successful. And this year, most probably we're going to do it worldwide. We're going to reach out to one country. There's 1 billion people. That is 1/billion. That is China. We're going to reach out to them and get them to write a song for the ocean. And I think it is fantastic to reach out to people with songs.
Wow, that is really amazing. I've been hearing more about, the importance of storytelling and things like that in sharing science with the public, but hearing about the songwriting competition, aware of it, but using this as a means for science communication is a really neat tool and very innovative. Are these songs presented at the Ocean Collective Summit?
Yes, they are. In fact, at the present moment, we have the first 3 songs of the first competition we had. It's been played in Spotify and as well as Apple. So we're going somewhere with it.
I'll have to give them a listen and we'll promote them. That sounds amazing. All right, I want to chat a little bit about the citizen science side of things. So, Gail, can you tell us about any of the citizen science projects that you all help facilitate and how you get vessels involved in those?
One of the citizen science programs that we are very much driving is the Seabed 2030 project to map the world's oceans. And in Singapore, we have a limited yachting, can I say, itinerary that is not as, because Singapore is more of a commercial port as opposed to a leisure port. So what we have been doing is reaching out to our volunteers who are in other countries, and through them and through their networks, we are recruiting yacht owners to sign up for the Seabed 2030 project. So, we've been having some success with yacht owners in Hong Kong. And recently, in the last 2 weeks, we've even managed to sign on a yacht owner in South Africa through one of our volunteers who used to be in Singapore, who used to live in Singapore, but has since moved back and worked and is now working abroad. But she has contact in South Africa, and the yacht owner is very happy to sign on for the project.
That's amazing. If you want to listen to more about the Seabed 2030 project, we have another SeaKeepers episode where our listeners can tune in and hear a little bit more in depth about that project. But it's really exciting to hear that it's spread to all of the branches of SeaKeepers and even further to places where SeaKeepers isn't yet. You found vessels in this area that are willing to help.
Absolutely. When the yacht owners hear how easy it is to participate, with the loggers, it's a no-brainer at the end of the day. Yeah. And they're very happy to be able to contribute back.
Yeah, it's a really cool project to participate in. All of that data goes to the JEBCO grid, which is an online map of the entire ocean floor that we are helping to contribute to. So I highly recommend any listeners go check out that map and learn a little bit more about the crowdsourced bathymetry initiatives of SeaKeepers. What are some of the key topics and learning objectives covered in your educational programs?
For our educational outreach, we have quite a wide range from anything related to biodiversity protection. So we talk about, coral reefs, protection of corals, as well as the science behind it, to mangroves, to even plastic pollution.
So you all are working with a vast variety of communities, from the boating communities to the local student groups. Are there any other communities in the SeaKeepers Asia branch that you all work with?
Absolutely. Of course, we also reach out to subject matter experts whenever we are doing our educational outreach. So inevitably, we are working with scientists from our universities to do the facilitation of these educational outreach activities.
Do you have any examples of some of the scientists that you have reached out to for advice?
Sure. One of our go-tos, if I can call her that, is Sam. She's been with us since the very beginning, since we started our, educational outreach. And Sam is well known within the local conservation community, and she has a great way with conducting these classes with school children who attend our sessions.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of great educational programming come out of SeaKeepers Asia. You all do some involvement with floating classrooms, and yes. I know the coral reefs have been a particular subject that you all educate your students on.
Absolutely.
Are there unique marine ecosystems in either Singapore or other areas that SeaKeepers Asia works with that are, different from maybe some of the ecosystems that we see in our headquarters, in South Florida? And what are some of the challenges that those ecosystems are facing?
So the way we work in Asia is that we reach out to a lot of community groups as well as grassroots organizations, and they inevitably are also NGOs. And one particular program that we have supported for a very long time is driven by the Gilly Shark Conservation. And they have started what is called the Coral Catch program, which is actually a scholarship program over a 9-week period to train Indonesian women in scientific diving. And the objective of this is to give them a livelihood. Yeah. And these ladies come to this program, and it's fully sponsored. They learn a new skill. But in return, they have to commit to going back to where they came from and carrying forward in terms of, protecting their environment there. So they have to show that they are creating new programs where in their own local neighborhoods, or taking on specific projects, so that we can show the impact of what they have been learning and doing.
That's incredible. Do you have any examples of some of those projects that these divers have come back into their communities and started?
Yes, we have. I think, if I recall, there is one particular lady who has actually started her own coral restoration program within a hotel that she works for. So, she as part of that scholarship, the Coral Catch program, she was learning the skills of diving as well as how to restore the corals. And within the Gili area, they also have an identified area of coral reefs that they are trying to restore, which were damaged as a result of earthquakes. So it's two sides are benefiting from this, and so one of the ladies who went through this has herself started her own coral reef restoration in the area that she is from. In addition to this, this program is also teaching local Indonesian women how to swim. And the goal is, if I remember correctly, the target is to teach 100 women to swim.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's actually a very inspiring program, and it's lovely to be able to be part of it. Yeah.
That is really neat. Is the goal of that to get people familiar with the water so that they can grow an appreciation for it?
Absolutely, yes. So, we try to assist the Gili Shark Conservation Team with creating more awareness about that program, that particular program. Obviously, if we want to go through training for these women, there is some sort of funding and sponsorship that is required. So we help them to reach out to interested parties for that. Yeah.
So Julian, we have a new branch of SeaKeepers, the SeaKeepers Bangladesh chapter. Can you tell us a little bit about that chapter and what type of programming they're working on?
It's just very recent that we have basically put ourselves on a map of Bangladesh, and basically I went there 3 days to look at the mangroves and saw depletion of the mangroves over there, and I was told that they lost like 30% of the mangroves within 100 years. And wow. So I say, well, we need to do something about that, and that's why I have a partner there now on the SeaKeepers, which I appointed to look into the situation, get more data from the government, maps, and to find out with some scientists locally over there what is the major problem. Some of the problems are basically human caused, because they need the timber, they need the mangroves to make their home, to do everything for themselves, even firewood, because they have nothing more than that. So these are the problems. One of the problems which we need to look into: how can we help the livelihood of the local people so that they know the mangroves are important. We just can't tell them stop, but this is basically what we are looking into it. And besides that, we're trying to educate children also, because that's our love of educating kids. They'll be the one that's going to save the world. And anti-plastic education, things like that. Yeah. Hopefully we can give more results in the very near future, what we're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to check back in and hear how the efforts in Bangladesh are going. I know that was a really exciting development for SeaKeepers, and dealing with the mangroves. We have mangrove ecosystems all over the world, and it's such an important ecosystem in South Florida. So we've talked about uniting efforts and working on protecting those ecosystems all around the world, which I think is so cool. Gail, you all have mentioned a couple times working with some of the marine plastic issues. Can you tell us about any of the programs that you have to work against reducing marine debris?
Since Julian just touched on Bangladesh, that's exactly one of the activities that they will be embarking on, and we're currently in the last stages of working out the campaign. And first of all, it's a very fundamental issue of clearing the marine debris, which is around the Sundarban areas. There are many villages located within the Sundarbans. So the idea is that we want to work with some targeted villages and create a campaign around managing the debris. It will start with what we call beach cleanups, and it will extend to as well as the debris management in terms of how we get rid of it. But running parallel to that will be activities around educational outreach for the children, as well as the local villagers in terms of what are the dangers of the plastic pollution, as well as hopefully encouraging some anti-littering behaviors.
What are some of the most common plastic debris items that you see either in the Singapore area or in Bangladesh?
I think in Bangladesh, they had conducted a study prior to starting this campaign, and it's food packaging.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Bangladesh has stopped single-use plastic bag way back. They're the first country to do that. 1965 or 66. They're the first country to do that. So when I was there, with 3 days, I only saw like 3 or 4 plastic bag one-time usage. But there's a lot of, like Gail said, food packages on the roads and, things like that.
It's great to hear, though, that they've cut single-use plastic bags. It's still such an issue so many places that I go. Even in the United States, we don't really have plastic bag bans. So that's a great step in the right direction. And then hopefully, some of those restaurants and things like that with their takeout containers, I'm hoping as technology advances, we'll find some alternative solutions to those. Maybe you all will be at the front lines of that. Are there any subjects that you all would like to touch on, or any more information about your programming that you'd like to share?
We've talked about competitions. Besides the songwriting competition, we also have upcoming drone and robotics competition. The objective is the same as the songwriting competition, but with the younger generation, the technology of drones is very interesting, and we are using robotics as well as the drone technology to further the message of marine conservation. So the competition tasks, if you can call it that, is related around marine conservation. For example, last year when we ran the robotics competition, some of the tasks that the children, the participants, had to undertake was a simulation of growing corals under the water. So they actually had to program drones as if they were planting corals underneath in the water. Yeah.
Wow, I'm trying to wrap my mind around that. That's amazing.
Yes, it is. It is really amazing to also see how the youth, the young children, how enthusiastic they are and how comfortable they are with this technology, and they take it in their stride and in furthering the marine conservation cause. It's really, really lovely.
That's a great way to connect two worlds. There's a lot of technology in marine sciences, and people
Yes.
use drones for things like capturing footage for studies, but this is a really unique way to utilize that and to kind of merge these two worlds.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Do you all have any other success stories of some of your programming or the ways in which your programming has allowed people to go on and care more about the ocean?
Sure. I think one of our pet projects is the Bring Our Turtles Back campaign. This is a campaign that we have been running for the last 2 years together with our co-partners, and it's based in the state of Terengganu in the country of Malaysia. And the whole idea around this campaign is to create an awareness to save the sea turtles of Terengganu. So we have been working with the local communities there, and we've organized campaigns around sand sculpture competitions, and we invite local school children. We have been working with 10 schools, and we put them through a competition format. And the kids are on the beach. They're using the sand on the beach to make their sand sculptures, which are, of course, the theme is the turtle. But what is so nice about it is that when you're walking around and looking at the competition happening, these kids have actually done some homework prior. And they've got, write their drawings of what the turtle should look like and what the marine environment should look like, and they're trying to replicate it through in the sand. So, again, another way of creating awareness and educating, but we're not going down the classroom, top-down approach. We're getting them interested through learning activities, through games. And having a little bit of fun around it. Yeah. So part of that campaign has also been to raise funds to do some scientific work on one of the islands where we are working with a turtle hatchery. It's called Kapas Island, and we've raised enough funds in order to do habitat monitoring, which will be happening at the end of this month. So that is being led by 8 scientists. They're doing a lot of surveys, underwater surveys included. And we've reached out to citizen science divers, and we've managed to recruit 10 citizen science divers who are going specially to Kapas to be part of this project. So it's in a small way, furthering again the cause for marine conservation. Yeah.
That's amazing. That sounds like a very big project with a lot of moving parts. So congratulations on that. I mean, what a cool project. Oh my gosh.
Yes, it is. It is. Yeah.
I think what I've learned the most from chatting with you both today is the innovative ways that you all are sharing ocean conservation with people and bringing them into it and helping spread education about our ocean ecosystems, from songwriting competitions to drone coral restoration to sand castles. I mean, it's just incredible, all of the kind of innovative ways you all have created to engage people in ocean conservation. All right, Julian, what are some of your goals for the future of the SeaKeepers Asia branch?
To be able to put SeaKeepers on a map of all the Asian countries. When we do that, then we are really spreading the word about our marine conservation.
I love that we have so many seakeepers all over the world, so many people engaging in so many different projects to bring awareness to all these. We're all part of one ocean, but there's so many different intricacies and different factors. So to hear about the work that you all are doing in your area of the world is really amazing and very inspiring too.
Thank you.
Thank you, Katie.
I think that wraps up our session for today. Thank you both so much for joining. I really love chatting with you and hearing about all of your efforts.
Thanks, Katie, for reaching out, and very happy to be able to share.
Thank you very much.
An Extra special thanks to Gail and Julian of the SeaKeepers Asia team for sharing their efforts with us. This was a tricky episode to plan since our time zones are 12 hours apart, so I'm really grateful we had the opportunity to chat about locally relevant initiatives in cooperation with the region's communities, academic experts, and the yachting community. For more information about SeaKeepers Asia's past and ongoing opportunities, head to www.seakeepers.org, scroll over our work, and explore the Chapters and Offices tab. No matter where you are in the world, you can help SeaKeepers to research, educate, protect, and restore our oceans. This was a great way to wrap up Season 1 of SeaKeepers Voyages of Discovery, but don't worry, we're already working on a Season 2 for you all. Check back in for updates about next season's release, where we'll travel to new places, encounter captivating ocean life, and hear the stories from experts dedicated to protecting Earth's greatest frontier. I'm your host, Katie, and SeaKeepers Voyages of Discovery will be back soon. Until then, fair winds and following seas.